Hey, happy Friday. It's not a Saturday night, but it's a Friday afternoon, and let's party on, Wayne. Happy Friday.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
They blend together.
Some people might be getting the day off today because they can't work because of CrowdStrike.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know what a CrowdStrike was until this morning.
If you had told me what a CrowdStrike was, I would have thought it was like from like a Predator drone.
I honestly thought it was a video game. Because of Counter-Strike? Yeah. Counter-Strike, I was like, I saw CrowdStrike was trending, and I was like, oh, new video game. And then it was like, my feed was just filled with, oh, by the way, multiple airlines and a few countries' banking systems have gone down completely because of a thing called CrowdStrike.
Yeah, along that same vein, I flew to Vegas on a 737 Boeing.
How'd you feel about that?
For the first time in my life, not nervous, but I had a little eyebrow raise when they're like, "Welcome to this flight on our 737 Boeing," and I went, I don't like this.
You check for like am I in a door plug?
Oh yeah, I legitimately did to see how far away I was from the door plug.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, we're good. And then I proceeded to fall asleep.
CrowdStrike is supposed to prevent cyber attacks, and they were very quick to say, no, this is not a cyber attack.
This was us.
we
screwed up.
Ran an update that we weren't ready to run yet, and basically it shut everything down. And it shows you how fickle all of these things are and how close we are to being on the verge of just absolute chaos in our world. Somebody compared it to, we all worried about Y2K. This is actually Y2K in the magnitude that we thought it could be. And I was like, I was pretty sure that the whole world was going to stop and like all the automatic doors wouldn't be able to open and shut and we'd be locked in places and our banking systems would all crumble and all that. Like, I don't think we're quite there yet, but for some people it is, especially if you bank in New Zealand, apparently. No banking in New Zealand right now.
Well, I mean,
that seems problematic.
They do have more sheep than people.
Yeah, but I've heard. I was actually talking to a buddy who works for a very big computer company, and he was like, he goes, yeah, a little while ago we had a big everything just shut down, and we had no idea what was going on, and he said it was right at the end of the workday for a team that we had in India, and they're the ones that found it, and they were like, all right, boom, we're going to get on this thing. And they worked for 13 hours to figure it out, and it was just like a minor tweak to something. Like it was kind of similar to this, a simple update, and things went haywire.
That's what it always is. It's a simple update.
A simple update. Like it could be, not even like the operating system itself was updating. It could have just been like, oh, we just changed something here. We added a new picture.
It's literally, you can put the wrong semicolon in.
Yeah.
And cause issues. But yeah, this is why you don't just push updates.
Yeah. Yet every time I turn on my damn computer, I got updates that I got to be doing on the computer, which I would like to thank our engineer, Joey. Joey,
what do you want to thank him for?
Well, he was here till 2:30 in the morning, making sure that our stations and computers were all up and running. Luckily, he was able to make sure that we are on the air. Some of our some stations across the country that are Odyssey stations were not so lucky in that because CrowdStrike. Trying to keep the bad guys out.
Yeah, we got our internal messaging service. I look and I see it like 2:30 in the morning. Hey, all systems are down. And I'm going, uh-oh. What do you mean all systems? Like, are we off air?
Yeah. Some markets
were.
are.
Yeah. I was
some markets are, man.
This is a problem.
You know what, though? I think we all need to pat ourselves on the back. Rust and I found out that, look, none of our computers, they weren't affected by this because you know what? We weren't working.
Yeah, my laptop was off, so it was fine.
Yeah, if you turned on your computer during when this whole CrowdStrike thing went down, or before they had like the quick patch in, your computer would just basically what is happening right now is because of the update that got pushed through. It just basically, if you have a Microsoft computer, it gets stuck in a reboot loop over and over and over again. Your computer's like, need to reboot, need to reboot, need to reboot. Because we are not workaholics and not on our work computers, we were okay.
Yeah, you're welcome, Odyssey and Joey.
Yeah.
Or you could be
How
like
about
me and
that?
be a complete dirtbag and not use your work laptop and use your own. And never have to worry about it.
See? That's
See?
right.
This is what happens.
Or that.
What would have happened if like NCAA football would have gone, like if they were affected by this? Was like the Xbox
Oh, there'd be riots.
affected by this? Do
Oh,
they
yes.
use CrowdStrike
They
up
don't,
there?
They don't use CrowdStrike. They weirdly enough, I think they actually use AWS, Amazon Web Services. I think that's what they use for
Okay.
to run everything. I could be wrong. I know Microsoft has their own server farms, but
Well,
I
this was a Microsoft issue.
yeah, but I think they actually use AWS to run
Dang.
Xbox Live. I could be wrong, but I think
Mm.
for whatever reason that's in the back of my head. But yeah, no, I mean it wouldn't have just been me. You would have had a murderous group of 40-year-old men.
Mhm.
That would have actually caused
40-year-old men. Yeah, I think you could go from like 12 to 40.
Yeah, I know, well,
I think you could span that entire age
what are they gonna
range right
do?
there.
But I mean, you would have actually motivated the olds.
Get off my lawn.
That would have been the actual Civil War.
The Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Did anyone ask Microsoft if they tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? Or pulling the cartridge and blowing on it? No. I don't think they did. You know, we had an old microwave. It was like built into the wall of our house, right?
Mhm.
And our home is 20 years old. And so we were having like appliances like your microwave, right? Starting to go. You know what my hack was to fix it? It would go from like working normally and then you'd get like low bulb and it would not work properly. I did the old just hit it on the side and it would it fired back up. It worked.
Microwave smack worked?
I would just smack the microwave, and I was like, yeah, I got this. I fixed it. You know, we would have to, my wife would be sitting there, and she'd be like, oh, got to stop it and restart the whole thing again. And then one day I just went up and I just hit it alongside the side of the microwave, and it popped right into working again. It was great.
Interesting.
And
Who needs the Fonz?
that is it was just like the old NES system where you could just slap it. Maybe it'd start working again, or you blow on the cartridge, which I don't think that worked at all. Do we know if that worked?
No, it did.
Of course it did.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
You actually the way
What was it doing?
the way that the NES worked, that chip you'd build up debris on it, and blowing on it would both in the system and in the cartridge could actually clear the debris and
I remember like just sitting there until I got lightheaded.
Based on science.
That is based on science. And just being like, it's not working. I'm like, keep going, man. It'll work. It'll work. We'll do it in shifts. We'll do it in shifts until this thing works. Got to play Mike Tyson Punch Out again. Got to beat them all. Got to beat, was it Saloon Joe or whatever his name was?
Glass Joe?
Glass?
Joe Glass?
Joe Glass.
Glass Joe.
Isn't
Glass
that
Joe.
isn't that who you played
Glass
with?
Joe. No, you played with Mickey.
Yeah.
God, I can't remember now.
Yeah. Dang, man. Our dump. Do you think that the dump button wasn't working yesterday for Buck because of CrowdStrike?
Probably.
That's what he should do. Buck should go full on spin zone right now and just say
It's computers.
CrowdStrike. It was CrowdStrike.
It's computers.
It's computers. CrowdStrike. It could be the fallback for anybody making a mistake at work today. All you have to do is just say CrowdStrike, man. What are you gonna do? They'll be like, buddy, you work on a Mac. You're like, I don't know.
It's computers.
Yeah, it got me. I don't know. I still think it was CrowdStrike. They're like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does. I used a Microsoft Mac. That's the way I operate over here. I'm an outside the box thinker. That's why you hired me. So the CrowdStrike. That's what happened to me. I feel like we could do that. The Lil Mac.
Lil Mac. There we go. Yeah.
There you
Lil
go.
Mac. Lil Mac was
Thank you,
our boxer on Mike
Oh,
Tyson.
no, that's on
Punch
the YouTube stream, huh?
Out. And on the text line.
And on the text
They
line?
got them both.
Gotcha.
They got them both.
Dedicated
We're covered.
audience.
Hot damn. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/1080am the fan, twitch.tv/1080am the fan. If this segment isn't an indicator, we're in the summer months. We're going to go off the rails today.
Babe.
We're going to go off the rails today. I feel like it's going to be a Friday where there's not a lot of sports going on.
Probably not.
I'm just going to lay that one out there for you. Not a lot of baseball is starting back up again today. So
You excited?
I am because like right before the All-Star break, my favorite team started getting relevant again. That really helps following along in baseball.
It does help in baseball.
And they're only a game back of the Seattle Mariners. The Houston Astros 1 game back of the Seattle Mariners as we start the unofficial second half of the Major League Baseball season. We're in that weird wasteland where next week we start getting NFL teams at training camps. You get college football media day for the Big Ten is going on. The SEC media days, they're wrapped up, and it's just kind of everything is slow moving right now. So the things that we have is like the big news in sports today are coach firings. Lawyers are getting involved.
Lawyers, lots of them.
I mean, they're really lawyering right now. You get the Open Championship where Tiger Woods says, "I'm feeling better," yet
But is he
14 over at the Open?
To be fair, this course is eating up a lot of people.
Well, have you seen what the that grouse that they have just outside the fairway?
Yeah,
I mean, it goes like
it's like 3
a
feet
little bit of rough, and then but it's just like it's gnarly looking. Like it looks like it's gonna hurt. You hit your ball, and you're like, been there, bud.
Yeah, literally a guy looked at it after trying to get out of it twice and said, "My back."
Yeah.
Which we all looked at his face and said, "Nah, it's not your back. It's your brain."
He didn't want a card at 12.
You did not want this. And it's, look, I respect it.
Like, I've been there.
I respect it.
I've been there with the back, and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. My back is broken, spinal.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go down the road of the ego hit that those pro golfers take when you card. Like, that's what I appreciated. Anthony Kim carded like an 11 one time. And you know what? That's the most relatable damn thing ever. There was a great Instagram reel that a guy did where he was like, why is your wife always telling you, like, why do you love golf so much? And why are you out golfing so much? And he correlated it to DK Metcalf is not even one of the best receivers in the NFL. Mm-hmm. He is a very, very, very good receiver in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But he is not even like, nobody's putting DK in the top 5, right, of receivers in the NFL. And he said, look at this man. I cannot relate to this man. And then he goes, watch him jump. I cannot do that. No. And then he showed himself jumping. And then he goes, but here is the best golfer in the world right now. And it was a picture of Scotty Scheffler in his dad bod. He goes, I can relate to that. He goes, here's a video of Scotty Scheffler missing a 3-foot putt. Here is a video of me making a putt longer than the one that Scotty Scheffler just missed.
Hey,
I can do that. I can relate more to these guys, even though if you were ever to step on a golf course with any of those guys, we would all be like, no, we're not the same people. We are not the same athletes. But at no point do you look at an NFL player and you're like, yeah, I can take him. I can do what he does.
It is different.
I can take him out. But there are moments in times where you're like, hey, Rory McIlroy shot a 78. I bet if I practiced enough, I could shoot a 78. Not from the tips, not in the Open Championship, but we could feasibly say I could do it.
Yeah.
I could shoot 8 over par. I could shoot 6 over par. I have that within me. I feel like if I commit enough, I can do that. And that's why we all golf. Is because
to chase that.
You could chase it. You could
chase
that
one good day.
Yeah.
Like we saw when we were at the fan golf tournament. The hole-in-one.
Oh man.
There's 15 people in front of us, that are watching him, and the pure joy and adulation that man had.
It was electric.
I mean,
it was electric. Like he
one hopping in the cup, and it was just pure pandemonium.
And he did exactly, in my mind, exactly what I would do if I hit a hole in one, which is he
Run
just
around in circles.
tossed his club and just took off running. Like before anybody could react, he was gone.
Yeah.
He was
sprinting to the hole.
He was halfway to the hole. And then he just was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I running towards a hole right now? Then he turned around, came back, and got
celebrated.
mobbed by his bros. It was, and everybody was going crazy. Like we all hit that hole in one with him because we did. And that's the joy of getting a hole in one where you can see it go in. Because that was my second hole in one I've seen in a 3-week span. Because my buddy Trask hit one.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't see the first one. We didn't see it go in. We just kind of looked at each other like, did that go in? I don't know. Did it go in? And we had no idea. When you have the ability to see it drop, oh boy, that is fun. And that is electric. We're chasing it. We're all chasing it.
And that's golf in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never hit one. I've gotten close a couple of times, but I've never hit a hole in one.
No, I have not either.
I'm waiting for that day, though.
Yeah.
Some guys golf like their entire lives.
Yeah.
And they never
And we
they
had
never do
we
it.
had two.
Yeah.
We had two on that day.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
My great grandfather was playing in a my mom showed me this newspaper clipping from in the newspaper. They used to have Ripley's Believe It or Not in the newspaper, and it was my great grandfather was playing in a tournament out at Columbia Edgewater, and he and his playing partner both hit a hole in one on the same hole.
Good God.
Yeah, in a tournament. In a tournament, they both hit a hole in one on the exact same hole. So his playing partner was the second guy who was up. I think it's more impressive when you hit a hole in one when the ball is already in, there's already a ball in there. There's a ball in the cup with the flag stick, and they both dunked it. That would be an all-time moment.
That's nuts.
My round would be done because we'd both just be getting hammered at that point. I think that's kind of how you do it.
As one does.
Yeah. Your round really goes downhill after you hit a hole in one because you're just too amped up. But you hit a hole in one, so your round is still pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's the expectation is that you go downhill from there. Yeah. Also, I mean to hit that hole in one in front of all those people, not only just your group, but that 15 plus people, and to have an alcohol spirits brand sponsoring said hole. It's a nice little way to have your first hole in one.
It really is. This text on the Vancouver Ford text line, back-to-back nines today. That's tough. That's tough.
Look, you want to talk about being able to relate? I got you.
We've all been there, brother.
9 times.
9 times.
Yeah, you hit that ball 9 times. Yeah, that's when you go. Yeah, it's really cruel of them to have back-to-back par 10s. Birdied both of them. Par 10 is what I did. Make yourself feel better about that right there. All right. Right. Well, should we start this sports show then?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. All right.
Let's go.
What is the most pressing news of the day? Yeah, I think I got it.
Got it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. Because a warning has been thrown down by ESPN next on the Fan. All right, bros, broettes, we've got a little bit of the landscape shift in the world of college sports. This is the very popular time for teams to bolt on their conferences, try to get out, and for we have these wide-ranging conversations. We talked about this earlier. The NCAA's president, Charlie Baker, proposed the Autonomous Four being able to just create their own entity, separate from the NCAA.
Indeed.
Well, M. Hever 3 on Twitter, which it's really weird how some people become these anonymous newsbreakers. Like, who's the guy in the NBA that people think is a front office?
Oh no, it is.
He's a
dropping dimes.
Dropping dimes. He's a front office member.
Yes,
and he just leaks everything.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, the thing about it is, what happens. You know this, but for the people out there, like, if you hear me say, like, here's what I'm hearing, or I'll strongly hint at something. These are the things that come, like, the front office people, like, where this comes from.
Yeah.
Because the amount of stuff that actually gets talked about behind the scenes is astronomical. What actually makes it to a transaction or actually happens is so minuscule.
So small.
So minuscule. So, like, you have to pick and choose, like, it's not like necessarily, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are those that carry water, but, like, when I say, hey, I've heard that the Lakers and the Blazers have talked about Jeremy Grant, it was because it was being talked about for a couple weeks leading up to it, and it was like, okay, yeah, no, we're getting there. There's more traction to it, but teams call and talk all the time, and it's endless. And you get these people that are in positions of power, and Trilly Donovan's another one in college basketball.
Yeah, he's an assistant coach.
Yeah, and nobody knows exactly who he is yet. And even the people that I know that are the most plugged in scouts in college basketball are like, I'm 50% sure I know who this is. But he's done an incredible job of, like, dodging just enough to be like, it's not that person.
Well, this it's MHVER3.
Yes, and this person has had college football stuff nailed.
Especially connections with the Big Ten, and then connections with television networks. Yes. And there's been this like floating theory that it is a television exec. It is,
which is what I would believe.
Yeah, and or a person that worked or works in the Big Ten in some capacity, because they've been on a lot of stuff,
and they're privy to stuff that doesn't get out.
They were one of the very first, the USC to the Big Ten, in that
2 weeks before everyone else.
They wanted to. It was Oregon and USC at first, and then they had to change course and go to UCLA and all that stuff. Well, they are saying ESPN has indicated to the ACC that the loss of 2 or more of Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson, Miami, or Duke will result in the option in 2027 not being picked up by the network. Obviously, we all know the 2 schools of note in there are Florida State and Clemson, who are suing the ACC as we speak to try and get out of the conference. That we talked about, there could potentially be a life raft for Oregon State and Washington State, in that if Florida State and Clemson get their way and they leave, then the ACC will be forced to expand in order to keep their seat at the table. You know what goes away is their seat at the table if ESPN says deuces. And then it turns into the wild, wild west, and North Carolina, say it's just Florida State and Clemson at first.
We know what that turns into. We've seen it.
Well, the rest of the conference will do exactly what Oregon State and Washington State are doing right now, right? Say they win their lawsuits by the end of this year, okay? So they enter 2026 a lame duck conference. In name, they'll keep it together because they can collect those checks from ESPN through 2026, but then 2027, ESPN goes, we're not picking up that option on the ACC. That's how you lose your seat at the table, because you then are broke boys.
It's very interesting that, 18 months ago, ESPN had all the leverage. They've got this contract that goes out until 2036.
Yeah.
they have all the leverage here. The ACC needs them, blah, 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 blah. And then it turns into, well, actually, if the two teams that actually matter leave, it dissolves the entire thing. It just shows you how much all of this stuff is just a house of cards.
I would, what will be interesting in that regard is if it is Florida State and Clemson, we have heard that for whatever reason, North Carolina and Virginia are very attractive to the Big Ten, more so than Florida State and Clemson are. They are coveted by the Big Ten far more than Clemson and Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Do those two universities, along with Miami, Duke, and then I guess by proxy North Carolina State because they're attached with North Carolina, do they have enough weight to say and convince ESPN, no, pick up the 2027 option. We're still going to ride through this because we're not leaving, and the mega conferences aren't going to happen if we don't leave. Because that kind of is where this whole thing comes down to is they also need that fourth conference for the purposes of seeding because as it currently stands in the college football playoff, it is conference champions get that auto bid, and they're going to be roped into being a conference champion. Can they bargain their seat at the I don't think they can.
No, the interesting thing about this too, as far as the dissolution of the ACC, you're still talking about a preeminent basketball conference.
Yeah.
So
the Big 12 will be ready to pounce.
And that's kind of where I'm wondering where this goes. And I don't think we're going to get a Notre Dame-esque pick and choose. Pick your own adventure with what your sports you play. I think for football and basketball, you're either you're in or you're out. There's no we'll be in there for football.
There's no more hybrid.
No, that doesn't exist anymore.
It will force the hand of Notre Dame,
yes.
which I'm
all about.
I'm so for.
Yeah,
I'm
sick of them.
You know what? Me too.
For very obvious reasons, but beyond that,
I have no.
They're
gripe.
not that important.
I have no gripe with Notre Dame other than what do you got? You guys
let me count
sniffing your own farts.
Yeah, that part.
The whole NBC thing. You're bigger and better than everybody else.
Your sign sucks.
Come play with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Your sign?
Play like a champion.
Oh, really?
Sucks.
Oh, I think that's tradition.
Lame.
No. Fight on is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, okay. Play like a champion.
How about a horse? How about stabbing a sword?
They had 4 horsemen.
How about stabbing a sword into the ground?
They had the 4 horsemen. They've got a
leprechaun.
A little ginger out there.
Yeah, but it's a fighting leprechaun.
How about Touchdown Jesus?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, they got Touchdown Jesus.
I'll give them that one.
They got Touchdown Jesus.
That was pretty good.
And their helmets are sweet.
They use actual gold.
Yeah, the gold flaking in them. Yeah.
What has more gold in it? A Notre Dame helmet or a bottle of Goldschlager?
Ooh. I'm going to go with Goldschlager.
I think I am too.
I'm going to go with Goldschlager.
I bet you.
And I don't feel comfortable with that.
I bet you can find out.
Somebody's done the research on this. Somebody's had to have done the research on. Is there more gold in the Notre Dame helmet or in a bottle of Goldschlager? Well, I don't even know if that is the case now that they dip the helmets. They do like the hydro dip of the helmets, the hydrochrome.
They don't have the actual gold on there anymore?
I don't know. The price of gold's gone up, Maybe they priced out Notre Dame's helmets in that regard. I have no idea.
Well, I know now because on that commercial we always hear during Colin, they're not giving away gold anymore. They're giving away silver Trump bars.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, here's something crazy.
Okay.
Speaking of the golden dome of the main building on campus, there are 1,250 strips made out of 8 ounces of 23 karat gold that cover that.
Really?
So 1,250 times 8 ounces. That's quite a few gold bars.
Man,
how many pounds?
I'm just wondering, catalytic converters are going out of cars. What's going on? I can't believe we don't have a bunch of tweakers scaling the Golden Dome trying to remove all of this.
We'll do some quick math here.
So how much is that Golden Dome worth?
Okay, so that would be if you're taking 8 ounces, 16 ounces in a pound, or 16 ounces in a pound, that'd be 625 pounds. And then divide that by 27. you're talking about essentially 23 gold bars.
23 gold bars.
Gold bars. Each gold bar weighs roughly 27 pounds, if I remember right.
That's some like national treasure type stuff
That's,
right there.
That's a couple
hiding.
suitcases. Like
Fort Knox is hiding the gold.
I mean, think about that. That's 600 pounds of gold. Like that's
27.4 pounds for a standard gold bar.
Yeah, so pretty close.
Or 400 troy ounces.
Yeah.
What's a troy ounce?
I don't know. Apparently, but you get 400 of them, and that's 27.4 pounds.
It always comes back to the Trojans.
No, it doesn't.
Troy.
No.
See?
No, it doesn't. I heard you guys talking about old Paul Feinbaum wanting Lincoln Riley fired.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he shouldn't have got fired last year. He should not have gotten fired. No. Now this year.
Yeah, look, if they have less than 8 wins this year.
Well, Lincoln Riley.
Just so we're clear right now, an ounce of gold is currently worth $2,369.
See? Dude. You could just take a chunk off of that Golden Dome and throw a kegger at Notre Dame. What are these students doing?
That Golden Dome is worth literal millions.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
It's kind of crazy.
Pretty heavy, too.
I'll keep trying to research the gold flake and gold Schlager versus helmet. Those are the answers that we need.
That's what the people want. It's what the plants crave. All right. Well, boy, that went in a way I didn't think it was going to go. Long story short, we're going to wrap this thing up.
Too late.
The ESPN is going to back out of the ACC's deal in 2027 if, and this is a big if the Clemson, Florida State lawsuits are successful. And then that's not good news for the Beavs and the Cougs or Cal and Stanford. Think of Cal and Stanford right now. How about SMU, which said, we'll take no money to join your conference because we want to be relevant. And it's like, nope, not relevant again.
Yeesh. So much for your lifeboat.
That's SMU. That was brutal, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
you've been trying to claw your way back from the death penalty for 40 years now. And you're like, we finally did it. Nope.
But they do have like God level donors, so they'll be fine.
Yeah, boy, they really will be okay. Yeah. All right. Hey, we have a trade in the NBA, and boy, is this a doozy.
Is it?
Is this where we're at now with the NBA's offseason?
Yeah.
And is it a signal to anything pertaining to the Portland Trailblazers with what they have available on their roster? That after Rust with SportsCenter.
This is an Open Championship Week edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by PG Long Floor Covering, carpet, hardwood, or laminate, flooring, cleaning, or restoration. Call PG Long, your Northwest flooring experts. PGLongLLC.com. First on the Fan, round 2 of the 152nd Open Championship at Royal Troon is winding down. Shane Lowry is your leader, 7 under par overall after a 2 under 69 today. He is 2 strokes clear of Daniel Brown and Justin Rose. Tied for 4th is Scotty Scheffler at 2 under par, 5 strokes off the pace. Jason Day 1 under. Justin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa all at 1 over par. Jordan Spieth is 3 over. Phil Mickelson 5 over. Ricky Fowler basically riding that cut line right now, tied for 69th at 6 over par, but headed home for the weekend. Tony Finau, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, and Wyndham Clark. The Trailblazers continue Las Vegas Summer League play tonight against Tijan Salon and the Hornets. 8 o'clock tip on ESPN2. Donovan Clingan leading Summer League play in rebounds and blocks per game. Elsewhere, Kevin Durant returning to practice with Team USA today in advance of tomorrow's Olympic tune-up against South Sudan in London. Durant listed as questionable as he recovers from a right calf injury. And the Mariners start the second half of the season at home with a crucial 3-game set against the Astros. Seattle's lead over Houston in the AL West down to just 1 game. Luis Castillo versus Hunter Brown. That's your pitching matchup, 7:10. First pitch on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan.
The NBA offseason has fallen a little flat. Yesterday, we had the news of Russell Westbrook getting traded to Utah, where he was promptly bought out and then signed with the Denver Nuggets, which that's going to work.
We mentioned this yesterday. The Nuggets were the 28th best three-point shooting team in the NBA last year.
Yeah.
And they just added the worst volume three-point shooter in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, it's not good. And
they do need somebody else who can dribble, though, so that's value.
There is something about Russell Westbrook I will give him a ton of credit for.
He doesn't give up?
He doesn't give up, but he'll shoot his way out of a series, Portland. But he changed his mentality and his game in LA, and I didn't think he was capable of doing it. He
changed it enough.
Yeah, but I didn't think he was capable of that at all. I thought everything was just going to be an absolute disaster. And I think he's kind of come to the realization that his career is on the tail end, so he's buying into roles a little bit better. The one thing that he has not bought into, though, is the fact he cannot shoot a three-pointer.
No, he's
or that the Westbrook nickname is gaining more traction the more angry he gets.
Yes. He's a career 30% three-point shooter.
Yeah.
30.
Yikes. But the Memphis Grizzlies, in the big news of the day of the NBA, have traded forward Zaire Williams to the Brooklyn Nets. And then...
Zaire, not a country anymore.
A second-round pick via the Mavericks in 2030 is the return, along with Mamadi Diakite.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm betting.
And then a draft rights to a Serbian guy who was drafted a decade ago. Yeah. Nothing. He was Zaire Williams was a top 10 pick.
Petteri Kopanen's draft rights were just traded, and he's an assistant coach at Summer League.
You're kidding me.
His draft rights are still active. They had to include something in a deal, and so his draft rights are traded.
And I think we're at this point of the NBA offseason where these are the kind of deals that are being made. And
this one was a little surprising in the sense of like, Zaire Williams? Okay. Mostly they trade. And kind of to your point of like where we are in the transaction cycle, the Blazers aren't 100% done, but they're 100% done if teams aren't willing to include the necessary capital to get guys. So that means Jeremy, that means Tease, that means Time Lord. Those guys are they're stone cold chilling unless a team offered like. Perfect example, and I mentioned it the other day. If the Lakers decide that they're willing to give up both ones, then they can have Jeremy Grant.
Make deals.
That's as I understand it. That is enough to get that done. Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, 2 1s, send it in. They're not gonna just give Jeremy away, and Jeremy's just chilling. They're not gonna move Robert Williams just for the hell of it because his value is at probably its lowest right now because he's recovering from an injury. So. Why not wait until the trade deadline if the best offer you're going to get is maybe a couple of like protected seconds?
And that to me is where I think Portland just holding on to guys is okay because we need to get this and kind of reshape this conversation again. Nobody has asked directly for a trade from the Portland Trailblazers. So you can move forward without that pressure of everybody knowing this guy wants out, he's going to be gone, and it's going to be pushed to the forefront of everybody's mind. No, whether it's Jeremy Grant, whether it's Anthony Simons, whether it's Robert Williams, those guys have DeAndre Ayton, which 4 guys that pretty much everybody kind of wants to be traded here in the fan base, which is a kind of a weird thing, seeing as you don't have any really good players anyways, but just get rid of those guys. They don't mind being here as of right now, and so you can operate this way if you're Portland, and that's why you're not seeing a sense of urgency from the Portland Trailblazers, and there shouldn't be at this juncture.
And on top of it, I mentioned this yesterday. There's this idea of the transactions are done, nothing can happen. I mean, there was a bunch of free agents last year signed in August. Remember Kelly Oubre signed in August out of nowhere with Philly? You're like, oh crap! Like if you look at who's available right now, Tyus Jones is still available. Gary Trent Jr. just signed on a vet minimum. Now they gave him the memorial special of if you're going to start, which Dame, Gary, Middleton, Giannis, Brooke, that is your starting lineup for the Milwaukee Bucks next year. You can write that in pen.
Middleton for now. Because he had that double ankle surgery.
2 ankle surgeries. One of them was scoped, the other one was repaired. But I knew I had heard a couple weeks ago that he had one worked on. I did not know both. That was a little. My eyebrow went up on that. I went, okie doke.
It explains a lot of what we were seeing, though, with our own two eyes.
Couldn't move
at all. Like the one thing that you could always rely on with Chris Middleton is that he would give you plus defender on the other end of the floor. Even when his scoring was there, didn't see either one of those down the stretch for the Milwaukee Bucks. But right now, where do the Portland Trailblazers go? We'll wrap up hour number 1 that way. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Hello, sports.
Toes around and mope like tough guys scowling goats. We're just GWAR.
Do you know what this is, Danny?
No, what is this?
This is a special tribute just for you. It is our producer. This is like the two worlds of my work life melding. It is GWAR singing "I'm Just Ken."
Oh my
Jeff
God.
Rust, huge Barbie P1. You metal guy. This is GWAR
Goodness.
for AV Undercover doing a cover of "I'm Just Ken."
Wow.
It's pretty good though.
What's funny, I was like, man, this sounds like 80s metal, but it was like produced today. It was like a lot cleaner. I was like, I have no idea what the hell this is.
Yeah, they came in all dressed up. They dressed like I don't know, like Dungeons and Dragons characters.
That makes sense. GWAR was like the first like real out there, like I guess Kiss, but like really got into it.
Yeah, they did like a brief interview before. It's the first one that they've done live since in 7 years.
That makes sense. They're old.
And he came into the studio, and the lead singer of GWAR says, "I've been a big fan of Ryan Gosling since he was in the Mickey Mouse Club." And he's like, "Ew, oof, oof." And he's like, I can't go near him, but I admire him." I was like, good
Yeah,
Lord.
they've been around since '84. Literally the year
40
I was
years? GWAR's been around for 40 years?
born. Yeah.
I knew it was a long time. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
I mean, I was figuring like,
Like,
early 90s or so.
It's
But
like they came on the scene like at the same time as Metallica.
Wow.
Yeah.
They've been really successful.
No, I mean they've as far as like hard metal, like yeah, they've been around a really long time.
It's crazy how, like, when you think of, like, metal bands, you think of, like, these rocker dudes, right?
Mhm.
That couldn't be. You hear this guy talk.
Oh, GWAR's
before?
like the what's his name? Dave Brocky,
Yeah.
the founder, lead singer. He like they're a weird bunch.
Yeah.
Like they're not like James Hetfield Metallica metalhead types. Like they're different.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. What do you think those guys are worth? What'd you say that guy's name was?
Dave Brocky's the founder.
Dave Brocky?
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently they don't get paid a lot. Dave Brocky has a net worth of only $50K, according to the internet. That seems like he has not been...
Responsible with his money.
Yeah. Yeah.
ah, yes, former NBA player.
Yeah. I wonder how are you not worth more when you've been, like, touring? And they've got, like, a big following, too, right?
Yeah, and they've got a great website.
What? Oh, wow. Well, maybe they spent all their money on their web
design?
development. Yeah,
Probably.
maybe that's what they're doing there. But that is them doing I'm Just Ken
That's
from the Barbie movie.
That's a thing.
It's a whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you'd appreciate
No,
that.
I do.
We wanted to
It's-
spring that on
no.
you.
I was wondering what you're springing on me.
Jeff was over there just bopping
Chomping a
away,
bit,
singing
yeah.
like he's Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
And
I still
meanwhile,
haven't seen Barbie.
you haven't?
Mm-mm.
Funnier than I thought it would
Yeah.
be.
It's good.
It is good. Even if you like Barbie, they liked it. Then, if you don't like Barbie and you rip the Barbie heads off your sister's Barbies, not saying I did that.
Hey, they got a weird Barbie in there too.
Look, the
Yeah,
magnifying
they got-
glass
it
melts,
hits
melts
everything.
the rubber.
It hit everything. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, P1B Rod. They made a cameo on the movie Empire Records in 1996. That movie is wildly underrated. Empire Records.
That's another indie one.
Yeah.
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 That pops up and you're like, oh yeah.
But a really good cast. Really good cast in Empire Records. It's like it's sneaky good when you go back and you look at it. But I digress. This is us talking Blazers in their offseason.
Oh, okay.
Because we sprung that on you.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. We'll get to that in hour number 2.
Okay.
Because we're already behind.
No way.
Where we got to start hour number 2 though is this is very slow sports day. But I saw a list I just cannot agree with. I mean, oh boy.
Oh boy.
RG3 tweeted out his top 5 fictional football players of all time.
Okay.
And I've got a hard disagree with 3 of his top 5. 3 of his top 5 aren't even in my top 5. Not even touching my top 5. Well, we got to get to that coming up next.
Okay.
Text us on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. I will unveil my top 5, including a surprise at number 1 next. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Give you an Open Championship update coming up this hour. They're golfing.
Everyone's struggling.
Yeah.
There's your update.
The Open Championship is taking over for the U.S. Open right now. Just everybody's gonna be on the struggle bus. I saw this list pop up from Robert Griffin III, RG3, as you know him.
Indeed.
Former Baylor and Washington Redskins quarterback, and now ESPN analyst.
Yes.
He said, we have to settle this debate. Who are the top 5 fictional football players of all time? I'll start. At number 5, he has Spencer James from All-American, the Netflix TV show. You've already lost me.
Yes.
At number 4, Shane Falco, The Replacements.
Okay.
Which is not even Keanu Reeves' best quarterback that he played. Earl Meggett, The Longest Yard, which would be Nelly. That would be Nelly from The Longest Yard. Number 2,
we'll say it is Nelly's best performance.
Yeah. Was he in any other movies?
Perhaps.
Okay. Bobby Boucher, Waterboy, number 2.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That was good. Yeah.
And then Steamin' Willie Beeman is number 1 from Any Given Sunday.
Uh-huh.
I give that list a D-.
Yeah. 1 and 2, I'm good with.
1 and 2, I am good with having in your top 5.
Yes.
I do not believe either one of them are the number 1 fictional football players of all time.
Stinky.
Yeah. My list, I will go at number 5. Ohio State University quarterback Johnny Utah, who led Ohio State to a blowout victory in the Rose Bowl against USC.
Hate him.
From the movie Point Break.
Yep.
He is at number 5 for me. I mean, blowout win in the Rose. Who else?
Yeah.
He's number 5 on my list. Okay. Number 4, best hands in the league. Phil Elliott.
Okay.
The Dallas Bulls of the North Dallas 40. Guy was on the tail end of his Hall of Fame career.
Thought you might go Rod Tidwell here.
They said he had because Rod Tidwell was a flash in the pan, folks. All right? Show me the money. He was a flash in the remember, he was struggling till Jerry Maguire came around and saved him. We don't know what happened after that.
Got him right.
So I'm going to go Phil Elliott because he had the best hands in the league. Dude was a party animal. Was hopped up on all sorts of painkillers out there playing football and still had the best hands in the league.
Not too bad.
Phil Elliott, Hall of Famer, number 4. Number 3, I will go Steamin' Willie Beeman, Miami Sharks, Any Given Sunday. He was
Throw the fins.
Electric
Throw
out
up the
there.
fins.
Yeah. And a story that everybody loves, right? Comes in off the bench.
Got his Hummer cut in half.
By Lawrence Taylor.
Still is out there.
Still did it. Number 2, linebacker, South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs, Bobby Boucher. He is number 2. And my number 1 fictional football player of all time in film or television is none other than Rudy Rudiger. Notre Dame.
Oh, God. You would.
From the movie Rudy. Because you may be saying, hey, Rudy's a real person. That's not a fictional character. No. Everything about Rudy Rudiger in the movie Rudy was fictional.
It was fictional. Despised, disliked.
They did not lay their jerseys down for him. No. He was not like this great little story that everybody loved on the team. Joe Montana hated him.
Yes, they all hated him.
So I'm going to go my number 1 fictional player, maybe a person in real life, but everything about him in that movie was fictional. Rudy Rudiger from the movie Rudy. He is number 1 because I think it's more impressive that they took the real Rudy and were like, you know what? We're going to make this into a film. And we're going to tell people this is a true story. Giving kids all over the country pipe dreams of what they're going to do. The whole stadium did not chant Rudy like that.
No. My list would be somewhat similar to yours in that it would contain both Willie Beeman and Mr. Mud Dog himself, Bobby Boucher. But you're missing the legend of Billy Bob.
Billy Bob from
Varsity Blues,
the overweight and slow offensive lineman.
Indeed.
Who puke and rally.
Yes.
Taught everybody puke and rally.
Also, and had asked his stripper teacher to go to the prom with him.
Yep.
Because
and
she's a tan.
Definitely.
A tan.
Definitely was concussed.
Quite often.
Playing through the game, and everybody's like, you know what? This is what you do. You're going Billy Bob. I have an honorable mention, too, of fictional football players. It just missed my cut. Al Bundy, Polk High.
There you go.
Married with Children.
How many touchdowns?
4 touchdowns,
There you go.
1 game. 4 touchdowns.
I love that we
1
talk
game.
about that. That's this huge thing. It's like,
Yeah.
that's normal now. It's not a big deal.
Not big of a deal. I'll also go. I have 2 Jeffersons, Darnell and Charles Jefferson.
Okay.
2 separate movies, 2 incredible football players. Darnell Jefferson, running back, Eastern State University Timberwolves in the movie The Program, and Charles Jefferson from the Ridgemont High Wolves of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Dude, Charles Jefferson was an animal.
You know who else was an
They used
animal?
to fly him in for football games. You know that?
No.
Doesn't even go to school there.
The biggest animal in all of fake football history. Not Bobby Boucher. Latimer.
Latimer. Just,
First team!
Just juiced out of his gourd. You lost your bonnet, baby! Yikes. Yikes. Also on my honorable mention, I got Forrest Gump, All-American kick returner, Alabama Crimson Tide. And Tim Riggins, Dillon Panthers.
Oh, there you go.
Friday Night Lights, the TV adaptation.
That's Taylor Kitsch, right?
Yeah. Yes. Long hair.
Yeah.
Those are my honorable mentions.
Long hair, don't care.
Robert Griffin III, your list is not.
It's not good. You know what I realized? We have better fictional baseball players than we have fictional football players.
No, football is like America's most popular sport. They have some of the worst movies.
Yes.
I mean,
baseball has the best.
The two sports that have the best movies are baseball and golf.
Yeah.
You got good movies.
Yeah, you've got
golf.
Bagger Vance,
Caddyshack, you've got
like,
Tin Cup.
You've got comedies and dramas. What was the one with
Happy Gilmore?
God,
The Legend of Bagger Vance.
Yeah, I said Bagger Vance. That was that one. Yeah, but there's another.
Paying attention over here.
What's the Bobby Jones movie?
Locked in.
I don't know, but with the dump button, you probably should be listening a little bit more carefully after what happened yesterday.
Hey, I edited that GWAR song.
Yeah, you did. Good job. Hey,
there's a Bobby Jones movie. Is that like?
I don't know. Yeah,
what is it? The greatest game ever played or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a new movie on Netflix that just came out, and I want to see it because Dennis Quaid is in it, and Dennis Quaid is like, he and Costner are just like sports guy actors now, like, and they're really good at the sports movies. It's oh goodness gracious, what is it called with Dennis Quaid? Netflix. The Long Game. It's about a Texas, like Dennis Quaid plays this Texas golf pro, and there's a bunch of
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, right. There's a bunch of Latino high school golfers that want to start a golf team, and they're not allowed at the country club, and so they build like their own couple of holes of golf. And I've just seen the previews, so I haven't seen the movie, but from the previews it looks really good. And their golf coach brings them out and says, "Can you teach them the game?" And he was like, "No." And then he's like, "Yeah."
Didn't they do this with like a track team?
They did, and Dennis Quaid was in that too.
Yeah,
I
so say like, didn't this exact thing happen with a track team? But
a cross country team in California.
Yeah.
And Dennis Quaid's been doing that for decades too. Go back to
The Rookie.
Before that even. Everybody's All American.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Rookie, written by
84 or something.
Hey, look again, coming full circle to Beaverton. Mike Rich was the writer of that movie.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So you have, wow. There's a lot of. He played Dick Vermeil too, by the way, in American Underdog.
What?
Yeah, the Kurt Warner movie that came out.
Oh my God!
That looked really bad. If you go, here are Dennis Quaid sports movies.
It's a lot.
Okay. You have The Hill, The Long Game, American Underdog, The Rookie, The Express.
Oh yeah.
You have Any Given Sunday, Everybody's All American, At Any Price, Soul Surfer, which that was the movie about the surfer girl who got her arm bitten off by a shark. Born a Champion, never heard of that. It appears to be a boxing movie. Breaking Away, one of the top 5 cycling movies of all time. Playing for Keeps,
are
Our
there
Winning
5?
Season.
Quick, name 5 cycling movies.
It's in there though.
You know what?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That's got to be a cycling movie.
You know what hasn't been done yet?
Does that count? He's looking for a bike.
Why has nobody done a cycling doping movie yet?
It's called the Tour de France. It's every year.
But I mean, like, there hasn't been one on like the takedown of Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, that would be pretty
You know
cool.
what I mean? Like it.
Well, because everybody that took him down also got taken down by doping.
Which I think would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like there hasn't been any like biopics on it at all, and that was like, I'd be willing to bet that all three of us had a yellow Livestrong bracelet.
Oh yeah, I worked at the finish line, so I definitely had one.
Yeah, Rust.
No,
Mm-mm.
Rust
No?
didn't have
Okay.
a Livestrong. Rust was
Drink strong.
crop dusting patrons at Old Chicago Tannisporn when Livestrong was popular.
Well, plus I had the extra one that Lance didn't. Just checking out here. 1,
I know.
two,
I know you're doing the count.
and 3. We're good.
Wait. Whoa. Hey. Is Dennis Quaid our greatest sports actor?
No, but he's up there. Costner.
You still going Kevin Costner?
I'm going Costner. Yeah.
Oh, Costner's in McFarlane USA, not
There you go.
Quaid. So Costner's sports movies are McFarlane USA about the cross country team, For the Love of the Game, Tin Cup, Field of Dreams, Draft Day, Bull Durham. Yeah, he's lapping the field right now.
Yeah.
American Flyers, don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's a cycling movie to make my point about breaking away.
I was going to say, isn't that like a wagon? But that's a radio flyer.
Molly's Game, which is the poker movie, Fastball,
That doesn't count.
The Art of Racing in the Rain. I've never heard of that one.
Paul
I think that was
Newman.
based on a book.
Paul Newman's got to be up there too.
The Upside of Anger and Play It to the Bone.
That was a boxing movie, I believe.
Okay. I mean, didn't know what genre we were going with there, but it's sports.
I
I'm
believe that's
assuming.
boxing.
Okay. Play It to the Bone. That's Costner. Costner, just by going Tim Cup, Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, Costner. You go Costner right there.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
And For the Love of the Game was a good movie too. I liked For the Love of the Game.
Who played to the bone? Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas.
Yikes. Yikes. I don't know about that.
Wesley Snipes.
He's in it too.
In
Well,
what?
Play It to the Bone.
Yep, but also White Men Can't Jump
Mhm.
and Major League.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's you put like somebody's 3 best sports movies
That's
up.
pretty good.
That's a pretty damn good list.
And Blade,
And-
that's all about hockey, right?
And he was in. I think it is. I think you're right there.
No?
Blade at Night.
Knew I should have watched that one.
Wasn't Snipes in The Fan too?
Yes.
Yes.
With
yes.
Robert De Niro?
De
which
Niro's
was
also
like-
on that list though too.
Which was the serious Celtic Pride.
Yeah.
Celtic Pride was cheeky. We're going to kidnap the star player for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
And The Fan was, no, I'm going to
gonna
kidnap and murder the best player of my favorite team. Took a very serious turn there in that. So Snipes is up there. So we have Wesley. What do we think of? Okay. If you're just going your top sports movies, you do have Stallone just in boxing movies.
in Rocky, yeah.
I mean, but I'm not going to count that
All
because there's
4.
one character
Yeah.
in all of that. These guys are playing different characters all the way along.
Over the Top.
Okay, so arm wrestling and boxing. All right.
Yeah.
Will flip my head around backwards and I'm gonna win this arm wrestling match.
No.
And Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. That's like skeet shooting or something, yeah?
No, that's
No?
not. That's
I really should have watched some of these.
God, you're getting good on these sports movies though. All right, 503-864-6326. Oh,
I think we did miss a top fictitious footballer.
okay. Well, hey, we'll get to that next. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
The Ducks are on a roll.
They have hammer
All right, RG3's list of fictional football players is doo-doo. I think we both compiled better lists together.
Yes.
His was Spencer James, the All-American, Shane Falco, the replacements, Earl Meggett, the longest yard, Bobby Boucher, Waterboy, and Steamin' Willie Beeman any given Sunday. My top 5 is Johnny Utah, Ohio State, Rose Bowl champ. Phil Elliott, Dallas Bulls from the North Dallas 40, best hands in the league, Hall of Famer. Steamin' Willie Beeman at 3, Bobby Boucher at 2, and then number 1, Rudy Rudiger, because I know what you may be saying.
Fights.
He's a real person. Everything about him in that movie was fictional. But this has transformed into best sports movie actor. And we're talking about Dennis Quaid and Kevin Costner, which both have bangers.
Yes.
Absolute bangers. Rust, you teased us with something before the break. You have one, an actor for best sports movie?
Oh, no, mine was for fictitious football players.
Oh, fictitious football
Yes.
player. Hit me with it.
Becky O'Shea, the Icebox. from
Icebox, Little Giants.
Yeah.
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go.
I know Devin
That's a
Sawa
good one.
would be in favor of that one.
Who would?
Devin Sawa.
He was also in that
He was
movie.
in that movie.
I don't know who that is.
You would if you saw him. Final
Final
Destination.
Destination.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Paul Newman. You mentioned Paul Newman. Paul Newman's got a good. He has. I was going to be weird saying this. He has a couple of really good pool movies.
Color of Money.
The Hustler and Color of Money.
Yep.
He has both those. He also has Slapshot on his resume.
Which Slapshot is. It is maybe the most underappreciated sports movie.
And Cars.
Mhm.
He was Doc in Cars.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then he
I
died.
forgot about Cars.
Oh.
And then he has a couple racing movies as well. Winning. Anybody? Winning. And he was an actual race car driver.
Yes.
Real life one.
Makes a fine lemonade, too.
And salad dressings.
And popcorn.
And all of the proceeds go to charities.
Yep.
The Human Fund? We had a text in for Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson is
Kingpin.
He's got Kingpin, which is a top 3 bowling movie.
Yes.
Outside of Lebowski,
Yep.
Kingpin.
And
There's others.
Littering and
Just
Littering and-
take my word for it. There's others.
White
But
Man
Wood-
Can't Jump.
the
He's
Peter,
got
Peter
white-
Don Weber biopic.
Yeah, he's got White Man Can't Jump. He's got Goldie Hawn in Wildcats.
Wildcats. I forgot about Wildcats.
And also, remember, he got traded for a laundry machine in semi-pro.
Yep.
Oh,
Well,
that's
that-
right.
And we also forgot about what we mentioned last segment, too. Boxing movie, Play It to the Bone.
Again, apparently everybody's in this movie.
Everybody is in
I've
that movie.
never heard of Play It to the Bone.
Really?
I mean, at least the sports movie genre of Play It to the Bone.
Whoa.
Will Ferrell also coming in. Will Ferrell's got some good ones when you go Talladega Nights, Semi-Pro, Blades of Glory.
Yep.
You've got a Kicking and Screaming, co-starring Mike Ditka.
Yes.
Mike Ditka's in there. Will Ferrell's got a couple, and then he did the what is it called when you he did the documentary on Netflix for when he played for every major league team in Arizona spring training. Remember that?
No.
I do remember that.
Yeah, he did that as well. Will Smith coming in on the Vancouver Ford text line
Because he crushed the Muhammad Ali role.
Ali, and then Concussion. Remember, he was the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
King Richard,
Yeah.
Venus and Serena's dad,
Yeah.
And
He
then-
got so big
and
for
then
that Ali role.
and then Bagger Vance too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I just remember how he went full Bradley Cooper in what's the sniper movie? Oh my God.
Lone Survivor.
No.
The one,
Oh,
God.
crap.
Yeah.
It was the real story.
Yeah.
Yes, of Chris Kyle.
Yeah.
Anyways, he put on like 50 pounds. He talked about like what he did for that movie to like get to be like close to Chris Kyle's size, because Chris Kyle's a massive human.
Big dude.
What Will Smith did to put on like to get that big to be as big as Muhammad Ali was. I remember thinking that and going, "Is this CGI?" Because Will got so big for that movie. It was like, wow.
I've been putting on weight for a movie role for
HGH.
decades.
I mean, you're probably not wrong, but
I mean, Yeah.
Still.
All right. What do we think of Tom Cruise's sports
Days of Thunder.
catalog? Days of Thunder, rubbing his racing.
Yeah.
You know, just
best
going up
best racing movie of all time?
Route of Burns.
Dick Trickle.
I love
Ricky Bobby.
I love Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
Like
it's probably the best racing movie.
Driving the Mellow Yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good.
It's
flick.
gritty.
Yeah, it is.
It's gritty.
But you have all the right moves.
6-2 stack monster. 6-2 stack monster. Ready.
Jerry Maguire, sports agent.
Sports agent.
He was also
Tidwell,
He was also in The Color of Money.
Yeah.
And he was also in. Was he in Without Limits? It says he's in Without Limits. I do not remember him in Without Limits. That's Steve Prefontaine movie.
Oh.
I wonder if he was a producer in that. And then they're trying to qualify Top Gun as a sports movie.
No.
It is not.
Just because they played volleyball.
It's a military movie.
They played volleyball.
Yeah, half
With
naked,
Goose.
lubed up.
Hey, look. If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, how is Top Gun and the volleyball scene not a sports movie?
Well, hey, and then in the new one, they play the fleet ball.
Yeah.
With, like, why do they have two balls? Teamwork. What?
Did you want to run into the ocean after that?
No, not at all. But you know what? I'll count it. I'll count it because Big Lebowski is a bowling movie.
See?
It's a bowling movie about finding that rug, man. It really tied the room together. It really tied the room together. So I'll allow it. I'll allow it in this conversation that we're having here. Top Gun. We'll go sports adjacent movie. I still think Costner is on top though.
Yeah, no, Costner's list is insane, and I'm gonna put Snipes too.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go.
Snipes has defining characters.
Yeah. I mean,
between Major League and White Men Can't Jump, those two alone are like, yeah, that'll do.
You got the program, the coach in the program. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm spacing
Pacino?
his name. No. James Caan.
Oh,
James Caan has a good
God.
sports movie resume
Yeah,
too.
he did a bunch of stuff. He was friends with the Rat Pack and Newman, so he did a bunch of appearances across everything.
You've got for James Caan, you've got the program, Rollerball, Brian's Song.
Ooh.
Where he played Brian Piccolo.
Ooh, that's a good one.
A Fighting Man and Redline 7000, which is a racing movie.
Sure, I'll take your word for it.
That's pretty low on there. But, I mean, you come out with those three. I mean, 3 good sports movies. That's a good run, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like 3 is the qualifier there. And the program, Rollerball and Brian's Song. I'll put you in that category here of a top 10.
Did he make it into both rollerballs?
I
forget, was he in the remake
I
with
don't
know. Ladies Love Cool James?
And he gave us his spawn was Tweeter.
Yeah, good old Scott Conn
in Varsity Blues.
You know what? I don't know how we did not get this.
Denzel.
Yeah. I mean, the big one obviously is Remember the Titans, but
he got game.
She's a Shuttleworth stat.
Yeah.
How did I not get that?
Yeah, the Todd Marinovich of
Todd
Todd
New York
Marinovich's
basketball.
dad of New York basketball, and
and the Hurricane.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, goodness.
Yeah.
But
but he's only got 3, but those are
three good ones.
3 really damn good ones.
Remember the Titans being, I think it's pretty easily a top 10 sports movie of all time.
I'm not as big.
Really?
I'm not as big on. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
that
not
sounds
as
like another list we're
big on
gonna have to do.
Yeah.
Remember the Titans.
No, not a sunshine.
No, Ryan Gosling was a liability at corner.
Wow.
We can all agree with that.
He was.
All right. And Hayden Panettiere was running that team.
Yeah.
I mean, they had 2 head coaches. If you got 2, you got none. And it turned out to be a 12-year-old girl.
And they had a crippled linebacker.
I mean, he got hurt.
Yeah, I mean,
you
him yelling out strong side when,
left side.
He should have been left side. It certainly wasn't strong.
Yeah. John Favreau, he has a couple of sports movies. He was the
linebacker in the Replacements.
The Replacements, yeah.
Are there any Marvel movies that are sports.
Are we sleeping? Are we sleeping on Adam Sandler?
Iron Man 2 has the like the F1 race or something, the IndyCar race.
Oh yeah, you're right. In Monaco
with old Mickey Rourke.
Yeah,
we're reaching.
But
we're reaching.
But Adam Sandler's also on there, very much so. Billy Madison and
or Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Longest Yard.
Longest Yard. Does he have a third?
Waterboy.
What? Oh yeah, Waterboy. Waterboy. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby Boucher. Yeah. That's three. Those are three real strong ones.
Yeah.
Three very strong ones. Okay. I think what we have to do now is we're gonna have to at some point
Mount Rushmore these.
Yeah. Top 4.
Yeah.
Ooh, this one's coming on the YouTube chat too. You got Tom Hanks, League of Their Own, Forrest Gump. Can we call Castaway a sports movie with Wilson?
No, that was a friend, not a sport.
Yeah.
That was a friend.
I mean, he's playing with balls.
Well, Burt Reynolds is in this conversation as well. Longest Yard, both of them.
Both of them.
Cannonball Run, Mystery Alaska.
Are we calling that a racing movie?
Well, they're racing across the country.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
No?
All right. That's fine.
American Pie is a lacrosse movie.
I'll allow it.
American Pie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who would we qualify?
That was a Chris Klein.
Stifler.
Sean
He was
Wayne
in
Scott.
The Goon.
Yeah.
He was in The Goon. Was hilarious.
I think he has another one too. I think he has another sports movie.
He's not in our Mount Rushmore
No.
though. He cannot be. He cannot be in our Mount Rushmore. No, my Mount Rushmore. I'll go ahead and I'll go.
Did they use the same dog in all of the Air Bud movies?
Oh boy.
I think that spans too many years.
I'm gonna go. Kevin Costner's on the Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
Denzel Washington.
Okay.
Ooh. Actually, no.
I think I'm going Snipes over Denzel.
Are we putting D. Quaid on there?
I will go. See, this is where it gets.
Snipes
tricky.
and Costner are like the no doubters for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next two is like, ooh.
I think I'll go Adam Sandler.
I
will go Adam Sandler is on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid is going to be on the Mount Rushmore.
The volume and the quality.
He's got both.
The Rookie made me cry.
Did it?
Yeah.
It made you cry.
Yeah.
Huh?
A happy tear.
And this is, boy, the fourth head on our Mount Rushmore is really hard. This is really hard to get to.
Well, for me, I'm having trouble already because I've got Costner and Snipes 1 and 2.
Okay, so Snipes. So we have Kevin Costner, Adam Sandler, Dennis Quaid, Wesley Snipes. Sports actors Mount Rushmore.
I think that's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah.
This was a fun exercise. Yeah. We got it all out there.
There you go.
And look, I think what we need though is we need a great football movie because we have not had a great football movie in quite some time.
The Last Boy Scout.
Yeah. The Longest Yard, Sinbad.
Unnecessary Roughness.
Unnecessary. What did I say?
Longest Yard.
Oh, no. Unnecessary Roughness. Scott Bakula, Sinbad.
Kathy Ireland.
Rob Schneider, Fumbleina, Fumbleia, Fumblerooski.
There you go.
Fumbleovering.
Didn't The Rock have one? Didn't he have was it a hockey movie?
No, there was one. He was a football coach or something.
He had a hockey one, and he had the Tooth Fairy is the hockey one, and then he had one where he's a quarterback and had an illegitimate child that came and lived with him.
That's the one I was trying to think of. Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying just
we've watched.
He tried to do the softer side, and then he went, you know what? This isn't really working. Doesn't make the money. I'm going to go back to buildings being blown up.
Ooh, here's a late edition that may be. It may be in there. Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell has The Miracle, The Best of Times, and then he doesn't have a third, though, because he was technically in The Battered Bastards of Baseball, which is about the Portland Mavericks, which he actually played for.
Yeah.
Documentary. He's got The Dreamer, which is horse racing movie, and then Touchback, which is a football movie that I have not heard of.
No.
Like he is in the Fast and Furious saga, which does at least in one or two of the movies.
Kurt Russell is?
Yeah, yes. CIA agent.
Which at least in one of the movies does involve the race wars, the poorly titled drag racing event.
I think you're ready for Waste Wars.
Who was that? Like nobody thought to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should call it something different.
Well, I mean, it kind of was like the focal point of the first movie too.
Yeah.
Where you have like the Asian gangs,
Hector and the Mexican gangs,
and you had. I mean, it kind of fits the timeline that they were creating with Fast and the Furious. I can't believe you guys watched. Like, they have a billion of those movies.
There's like 12 now, I think, legitimately. And
I stopped after.
They make billions in China.
2. I stopped after 2.
And I guess while we mentioned the Fast and Furious movies, we did have this, and the race wars, we did have this from Danny yesterday.
I'm pro-segregation.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Context, please.
Nope.
Can I get some?
I love white.
What? Can I get like a little bit of context here? Holy smokes!
I forgot what even we were talking about when he said that.
I'm pro-segregation. We were segregating NFL host cities for the Super Bowl and the draft.
That's right.
And I said, I'm pro-segregation. Keep the Super Bowl below the Mason-Dixon line.
There we go.
Caitlin Clark is white.
Thank you for that. That makes a lot more sense.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not gonna say I'm on board with you. But my God. Wow, that one hit hard. Jeez Louise, you can't just drop me on that. You just drop that on me. What are we doing here? Oh, Jon Favreau was also in Rudy. Remember, he was Rudy's roommate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. Vince Vaughn was the quarterback. Vince
Oh,
Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. Dodgeball.
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah,
He does
gymnastics.
gymnastics in that.
Wedding Crashers.
What do they do in Wedding Crashers?
Football.
He gets sacked by
That's
Zach.
what Maryland does. It crack cakes of football.
Hot route. I don't even know what that means.
Means over there, stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Man. All right.
He's an honorable mention, for sure.
He's on there.
All right, coming up next, or for our worst day on the web, an athlete who's not an honorable mention. But first, she's Big Kahuna Sports Center Update.
You ever had a Big Kahuna Burger? This is an Open Championship Week edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the second round of the 152nd Open Championship at Royal Troon has wrapped up. Shane Lowry is your leader, a 2 under 69 today. That leaves him at 7 under overall. He is 2 strokes clear of Daniel Brown and Justin Rose, Scotty Scheffler tied for 4th at 2 under par, 5 strokes off the pace. Jason Day is 1 under. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, John Rahm all at 1 over. Jordan Spieth is 3 over. Phil Mickelson 5 over, and Ricky Fowler just sneaks in above the cut at 6 over par, tied for 69th. Headed home for the weekend are Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, and former Duck Wyndham Clark. The Trailblazers continue Las Vegas Summer League play tonight against the Hornets. 8 o'clock tip on ESPN2. Donovan Clingan leading Summer League play in rebounds and blocks per game. And the Mariners start the second half of the season at home with a crucial 3-game set against the Astros. Seattle's lead over Houston in the AL West down to just 1 game. Luis Castillo versus Hunter Brown. That's a 7:10 first pitch on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Summertime is here. Escape to the beach and visit Pelican Brewing for fresh, award-winning brews and epic views. Independent on the Oregon coast since 1996, with locations in Lincoln City, Pacific City, Tillamook, and Cannon Beach. Pelican Brewing, born at the beach.
The Oregonian called Elk Ridge Golf Course the best Northwest golf course you've probably never heard of. In the heart of the Columbia River Gorge,
edition of Danny and Dusty
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
on 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web with Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
Well, we spent a ton of time talking about fictional characters, and you would think somebody this stupid would probably be a fictional character, but you'd be wrong. Jontay Porter, after being caught gambling on himself and
very, very, very brazen gambling,
blowing the game and playing the unders on himself. The worst possible gambling crime you could commit. He asked if he could resume his basketball career in Greece while his charges and sentencing are pending.
Oh, yeah, that seems like a good opportunity to bring a guy in to your Greek team.
Yeah.
Everything will be on the up and up, and in
Not
no
only that-
way, shape, or form will he be compromised.
Not only that, real quick, is Greece a company you can be extradited?
Country. You make sure
Extradition,
you have
country.
a country, not a company.
Let's see. Yes, Greece is an extradition country.
Okay, so they can bring him
They
back.
can bring him back. I just wanted to double check that.
Look, slap an ankle monitor on him and send him over to Athens.
Yeah,
huh?
there's no way that in Greece he would ever do anything untowards in playing a sport.
No way. No way you would do that.
That would never be a thing.
He's never going to play basketball
What an
again.
idiot.
Like,
What a colossal moron.
shoot your shot, though.
Or don't,
Try
in
to
his
see.
case.
Try to see if or don't get those unders. He's going to go over there and be like, "Hey, I'm betting the overs now. I'm just betting strictly overs."
Like, does he not realize that he's never, ever the likelihood of him getting a job?
Yeah,
is next to nothing. You can't. You've proven you cannot be trusted on a global scale.
absolutely.
Well,
he's going to be going to prison. So playing in Greece is the least of his worries
Yes.
right now.
Can I go on my vacation in Greece?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so. You're going to be going to a federal penitentiary.
This is also because it kind of gives you some insight into the Porter family.
Yeah. I mean, if you were in his shoes, wouldn't you ask, though? If, some Greek team was like, "Hey, you want to come play?" You're like, I mean, I kind of need money right now.
Worst they can do is say no, right?
And they did.
Yeah,
they did pretty quickly, too. They were just like, "Can I play in Greece?" No. Didn't even get Greece
This
out.
isn't even having the balls to ask. This is like, how dare you?
A read the room
You're
situation.
like, are you kidding me? No. This is the guy from Billy Madison going full. Not only did what you say was wrong, like everything you just said just made everybody in this room dumber type situation. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, I'm not amazed by anything that the Porter family does at this point.
Oh my God!
But it would be a trip to see him out there playing on the basketball court in an ankle monitor, though. It wouldn't be the first time. I've told this story before. Southern Oregon played a national title game, and the starting middle linebacker for the other team played in the national championship with an ankle monitor.
Full on
on.
replacement style.
Yeah.
Was it the running back? It was the running back that had the.
I don't know. It happened though, and there's stories about it. I think it was like Miriam in Indianapolis. He was a linebacker at Purdue and got booted out of there.
Couldn't leave the state.
And he ended up playing. I think they did have to request that he
cross state lines
for every road game that they played in. Have him go down. He wore an ankle monitor in the national championship game.
Wild.
Just means more.
Yep, there you go.
In NAIA football in Indiana.
Suck it, SEC. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk some more college football 25, and why Dusty will eventually give in.
I will, probably.
You will, and this reason alone might get you to give in just so you can right or wrong.
Marion University. Go ahead and look up Marion University football ankle monitor. It'll pop up.
That'll be a good thing to Google, I'm sure. That and more coming up here on Danny and Dusty today, the Fan. I have dedicated most of my life the past couple days to college football 25. It's been fantastic. Although my Houston Cougars have suffered a setback.
What happened with the Cougs?
Well, we may have accidentally clicked Advanced Week without playing the game.
Oh,
and
no.
suffered a loss to a 1-win Arizona State team.
Look, Kenny Dillingham will get you, man.
He will.
Dillingham, dilly.
He got me. And then we played the game the next week against Baylor in Baylor.
Yeah.
Lost 50-42. We're a little light in the trenches. The recruiting class is still young.
This is brutal, man.
We got to get a little bit bigger. But there's another game mode, Ultimate Team in college football, which is a way for EA Sports to continue making more money than God.
Absolutely, it is.
And one of those, they have the Ultimate Alumni Cards, which feature players like Marcus Mariota and Mike Evans at Oregon and Texas A&M, respectively. The interesting thing here is it's not a direct one-to-one comparison. Like, if you look at these cards, Mike Evans is rated as an 85, Mariota is an 86. Remember, Mariota was the best player in college football. He should be close to...
He was a Heisman Trophy winner that took over games and put a team on his back
and had
won.
Crazy numbers.
Took Oregon to a national title game.
Crazy numbers. Like, if you're comparing him on a scale, what they do in Ultimate Team is they have like different scalings for guys. So they have the regular season numbers for guys, which when you see like Shedeur Sanders is like a 93, you're like, that doesn't make sense, because if Shedeur Sanders, whose profiles is a pretty good above average college quarterback, he does not profile as a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
No, like his overall rating is a 93. Mariota's 86, right?
Well, there's a difference, because the Mariota at the time was like a 98. So they have these.
Why wouldn't you put him in here now?
Because they have these scalings that go along with them. But to your point,
what? Hold on. What does the scaling do for the Ultimate Team? Because the Ultimate Team should be really damn good.
So like in the Ultimate Team, there's like, think of like Topps cards, how there's different series releases of cards. Like this alumni one is an alumni series, and so the ratings aren't as high for this particular series.
So Mariota in another series will be better?
Yes, like there will be multiple versions of it.
All right, I think that's pretty dumb.
Again, that's all these different things, but it also kind of like highlights like kind of the absurdity of Shedeur Sanders being a 93. Because if Shedeur Sanders is a 93, you have to look at the scaling all time, because like if he's a 93, Reggie Bush is a 99. Like there's no, like Reggie Bush is unequivocally untouchable, god of college football when you're talking about this video game, right? You're talking about only a 6-point difference between the two of them.
Yeah, no.
And that's just not
ridiculous.
The case.
The biggest thing I take issue with in this is, so they have Mariota as an 81 speed.
Yeah. What kind of a 40 did he run?
He ran a 4.48 at his pro day. He ran a 4.52 at the combine. And his speed is 81 on this game. Shedeur Sanders, who his own father just last year said he is slow, and the fastest 40 he has ever run is a 4.65, has an 80 speed in the EA game. That don't make no sense. Also, Mike Evans in this alumni thing has a speed of 85. He ran a 4.46 at his pro day and a 4.53 at the combine. Yet he is 4 points faster than Mariota, who's just 1 faster than Shedeur Sanders. It was slow.
And Jalen Ramsey, he has a...
That's crazy to me.
Jalen Ramsey has an 86 speed. He ran a 4.41.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing here?
I would very much appreciate, like... This is the same issue I have with like NBA 2K, because they have to like there's marketability, there's a video game aspect of it, and also they don't want to take shots at guys' pride. Like, but and look,
be realistic. Here's the thing with Colorado in that game as a whole is in the game. They are propped up far better than what they are. Shedeur Sanders is like the poster boy of being propped up, being better than he actually is. And I think Shedeur is a very fine quarterback, but it just is asinine how far they have reached in, look at how good Shedeur Sanders is. And so every time that Dion and Shador and Shiloh and Travis Hunter and anybody affiliated with Colorado's sits there and is like, we take shots from everybody. Well, it's because you guys, one, give everybody the ammo to take the shots right back at you, and you guys are getting propped up in a way that is not commiserate with what we have seen on the field at any time of what we've seen on the field. Travis Hunter's really good football player. He's a better receiver than he is a corner. He is.
No.
Like right now, that's where he is. And I just, it has gotten to the point where the pushback to anything Colorado is, oh, you just hate Dion. No. Like I've repeatedly said, I hope his disruptor nature, I hope it works at Colorado, because something new in college football is good for the game.
It's the anti-Caitlin Clark.
Holy smokes. Yeah.
Of like, it's more about the hype of something as opposed to the actual value of something. Whereas one has been contextually valuable to what they do and who they are, and the other one has
it's crazy.
Not.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. So we have the Marcus Mario. They're saying that this is like him as a freshman. So this would be Marcus Mariota, not Mariota.
Yeah.
And it will never be Mariota, everybody, because it's Mariota.
Mariota.
No.
Marinara?
He's just too nice to correct people.
Yeah, I know. Even the commissioner.
He bungled that thing up a lot. Not as bad as Joe Tessitore, though, in the very first game, where it was Mariota.
Well, to be fair,
that's how it was in the pronunciation guide.
And his family was wearing shirts that spelled it out, like phonetically, Mariota. Do you remember those?
No, those came out after he played in that game.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was.
I thought they had those for the game one.
That was no, because I think his mom was watching the game on TV and like made the call. It was like, that's not how you say his name.
But we're gonna get T-shirts that make it sound like that.
Yeah,
like it.
Well, you can make that money.
Oh yeah.
As long as he didn't see a cent of it back then.
Yeah, exactly.
He saw no money.
Definitely those shirts that had Nike swooshes on them. He definitely never saw any of them.
Never saw it.
Not a penny. Speaking of seeing pennies, Lamar Jackson thinks that Troy Aikman isn't good enough to see any more of his pennies. Huh? That and more coming up in hour number 3 here in Danny and Dusty, 10 the Fan. Number 3 here on a Friday afternoon. Whether you're watching along on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan, or listen along on old terrestrial radio, 1080 AM. We appreciate you. We love you. Thanks for hanging out. We're right on time, as always. Jeff Rust keeping us on the clock and keeping us consistent.
Don't you put this on me, Ricky Bobby.
We're right on time.
You guys got clocks in there.
We're right on time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, unequivocally on time.
It's not
no doubt
your
about
fault.
it. No doubt about it. You know what there is a doubt about? Who owns the number 8?
This is so dumb. Troy Aikman is trying to copyright the number or trademark the number 8.
I mean, should he be able to?
No. Lamar Jackson is actually filing
multiple trademark lawsuits.
Yeah, against Troy Aikman, who wants to just take the number 8 and use it on merchandising. And I think he has a beer, that is 8 branded. But when you think of the number 8, where does Troy Aikman come in on your list of athletes to wear number 8? Because just right off the top, he's not even in my top 3. Because I will put Cal Ripken Jr., Kobe Bryant, and Steve Young ahead of Troy Aikman. I would also put Ovechkin over Troy Aikman as well.
Ovechkin, yeah.
I mean, he's barely pushing top 5. Yogi Berra, anybody? Number 8?
Hilariously.
How about Yogi Berra?
When you go to
so
Ranker.
I will put Troy Aikman at 6.
Well, hilariously, when you go to Ranker, Lamar Jackson and Troy Aikman are tied.
Where are they at?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. 7 and 8. Well, maybe that's why Aikman wants 8.
Well, this is very funny. This is what I think the you ever see the tweet? That's why you're you and I'm me. And it's somebody quote tweets it like these ladies are having a mid off. This is 2 very just average looking women talking about how great they look. And I think that's kind of what you're getting here.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback.
Dale, this Vancouver Ford text line. For me, 8 will always be Dale Jr.
Yeah.
Dale Jr. also. Probably putting ahead of Troy Aikman at 8.
I would not come up to either of them when it comes to the number 8.
I think Lamar Jackson, by the end of his career, may have something to say about that. If he could be a multiple MVP winner, if he ever wins a Super Bowl, then you could be talking Lamar Jackson in number 8. But as of right now, no. I appreciate Lamar Jackson for fighting the good fight though, and saying, Troy Aikman, you don't own number 8. You're not even the best quarterback to wear number 8.
I kind of hope Vanessa Bryant just comes over the top and says, "Both of you, shut up."
Yeah, Kobe, 24 and 8.
Yeah, we have both numbers.
Yeah.
Where does Martell Webster rank on this list?
Above Darren Williams.
Does Martell Webster rank above Darren Williams? Because I don't think so.
No, because that was the joke, was they took Martell over.
No. What number did Darren Williams wear?
I think we're 3, but I was saying they drafted Martell over Darren.
That's not.
They traded back.
Did Elliott Williams wear number 8 too?
I don't know.
Ooh, that's a good one.
My wife played craps with Elliott Williams when he was injured for a really long time. Like he was there, he was at the tables for hours.
And it's Watley.
9. He wore 9, but the 9, the italicized 9 for the Trailblazers looks like an 8.
Sure,
It does.
We'll go with that.
It's an easy one to get locked in your head. But yeah,
Patty Mills.
Patty Mills did wear 8. Yeah.
The Aussie baller.
Yeah.
Charles Jones, Ennis Watley, Steve Smith, Martell Webster, Patty Mills, Luke Babbitt, Alfarico Minu, Trevor Ariza, Cameron McGriff. Who can forget that?
God.
Brandon Williams, Skylar Mays, and of course now Chris Murray.
That was a 2-way number guy.
So we gonna go Steve Smith, the greatest number 8 in Blazers history?
Yeah, easily. He has his own move.
We're going Steve Smith. Then there's a big drop off.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big drop off there. Aminu. Aminu?
Yeah. Aminu question mark?
Aminu? And then we'll go Trevor Ariza.
He was pretty washed by then.
Year?
But
I think that says more about the people who wore number 8.
Yeah, it's not a great number.
Hey, Chris Murray. Chris Murray, you've got an opportunity.
You've got an opportunity to really take hold of that number.
You've got a chance to vault up the rankings and be number 2.
Hit him with a Murray.
All you got to do is just not step out of bounds every single time you get the ball in a crucial situation. And maybe you'll surpass Al-Farouq Aminu.
And as bad as Aminu was, CJ McCollum holds the gold medal in that one.
Yeah, but he has on volume, but Aminu in critical situations,
CJ had the one against Denver though.
Well, he had Aminu had 3 in a playoff series where you're sitting there like they could win this. Nope, they're not going to win this game.
But yeah, this whole thing between
somehow he would dribble the ball above his head too.
Yeah, God, that was a great handle. Open palm dribbling. But Lamar Jackson and Troy Aikman fighting over this.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up.
Yeah,
both of you shut up.
Don't even
because
I think Yogi's family should come over the top, and
Yeah.
then Vanessa Bryant can come over the top of Yogi.
Of Yogi. And the whole thing, like, you read the filings here, it's like LJ8, I've seen plenty of times. Like, that's when I associated with Lamar Jackson. Or the era 8. Like, he tries to market this stuff. Like, yeah, okay, I get it. You shove it down everyone's throat. But 8?
No.
Kobe and Ovechkin would be it for me, and with respect to Cal Ripken probably being right there. But Ovi, to me, is more impactful.
He could be the NHL's all-time leading goal scorer when his career is over.
So, but yeah, look, and honestly, I think of Aikman long before I think of Lamar. Long before, because
he's got multiple Super Bowls and he was on a great team.
But the
He's a Hall of Famer.
the triplets,
He's a Hall of Famer.
88 and 8 and 22, like that just that sticks.
Well, he also had Daryl Johnson. He had Jay Novacek as his tight end. Like he was
Allen.
They were really damn good.
Nate Newton.
That ain't it.
That's
Troy.
Yeah, but like,
And don't come at-
it's Lamar suing Troy over this. I think Troy probably has a better hold to it right now.
He has it, but I think Lamar's fighting the good fight here for all number 8s.
I feel like
because
this
you can't do
is
it.
LeBron James trying to fight for Taco Tuesdays. I think he's the bad guy here. I think he's the bad guy here.
You think Lamar's the bad guy?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think you need to leave this one alone and stop trying to copyright it.
I think,
You can both work with under the umbrella.
This is why Yogi and the Bryant families, the Berra and Bryant families need to come over the top. Or Steve Young just walks in and says, guys, stop. With his big left hand, comes in and says,
Or Alex Ovechkin comes in and says, "Niet."
Niet. I'm the 8th. I think you all should move over now.
So
the real 8 is here.
For some reason, I pulled up Troy Aikman's stats. Do you want to know how many times in his career he threw for more than 20 touchdowns in a season?
Twice.
Dusty?
None.
Once.
I knew it was a small number because
1992, he threw for 23.
Price is right. I won.
They ran the hell out of the ball, and it was a different era.
It was a way different
throwing for more than 20 touchdowns is like throwing for 40 touchdowns now.
Yeah.
It's just significantly different.
Oh, we have a Vancouver Ford text line. Andre Dawson was my favorite number 8.
That's a good one.
Look at his numbers compared to Willie Stargell. It's almost the same.
Is it Willie Stargell? Didn't he wear an 8 too?
No idea. No idea. I have no clue.
I legitimately think.
But that's where you go. Even the great Andre Dawson was not the best number 8 in
Willie
his
Stargell
respective
wore number
sport.
8 for the Pirates.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
See? Now we can have this conversation of Andre Dawson, he's the Troy Aikman of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Not even top 3.
Yeah. It's in your own sport.
All right.
So, yeah. Number 8, weird number.
There aren't a lot of great athletes number 8. No.
Kobe
It's
saw
weird.
it and was like, I need to change it.
Yeah. And then he went to 24.
We
know why. Selling jerseys, of course.
I mean, is that really what we're going with?
Image change. What is the greatest number ever worn then? 8 is down there, especially being a single-digit number, because it seems like everybody wants the single-digit numbers. But 8
Single-digit numbers are great.
They are. They're coveted.
Mm-hmm.
But 8 is not one of them.
No, that is probably the least coveted. Of the single digits, 1, 2, 2's not great.
I hate the number 1.
Derek Jeter might argue with you there.
Yeah, I love number 2.
Do you?
I love 2, yeah. I don't
3's
like
a
number
great,
1.
3's a great number.
Guys,
Does number 2 work for?
number 1 has always been, in my mind, this is because my dad always used to tell me this, guys that wear number 1 are individuals. Look out for themselves. number one. And
Yeah,
so
they-
I've always had that in
they
my mind.
usually are
I
DBs.
I do not like number one.
DBs
Except
wide
for
receivers.
there's Ozzie Smith. I love.
Oh, there you go.
Ozzie Smith
Yes.
was the only number one.
Yeah.
He was like the rule breaker
Mhm.
in all of
That
that.
kindest man in sports.
Yeah. You look at like guys Cam Newton, number one.
Yeah.
I just go, come on. No. Not a big Cam Newton fan.
There's no I in team, but there is an M and an E.
That's
Four
right.
is a weird number. Of the single
Oh, you got
digits.
Favre.
But I mean, it's
Yeah.
5's a great number.
Oh. Yeah, it's okay.
It's a great number. Six is a weird one.
4, you've had a lot of really good ones though. Bobby Orr, Brett Favre, Lou Gehrig. Anybody? I mean, that's pretty.
He's so good they named a disease after him.
I don't think that's why they named the
Oh.
disease after him, but he was the person that had the. He was the most famous person to get it. So then they sure brought it on down to just Lou Gehrig's disease. You know, they sure did.
What bad luck.
Yeah. Joe Dumars. I love Joe Dumars. I like Joe Dumars a lot.
Yeah.
He wore number 4.
It's a different number.
Yeah. Yeah. Different birds. And you double it, and it gets even more mid when you get to 8. Troy Aikman, you're out. Lamar Jackson, you're also out. Come on.
Yeah.
Where's the Bryants and the Bears? Swing on in here, file this lawsuit.
The
come
big
over
the big
top.
baller brand of number 8, the Bees, the Killer Bees,
Yeah.
the Bryants and the Bears.
That's right.
Oh God! All right, coming up next, you've got a little map in here of the evolution of Division III football.
No, this is a Jeff Rust find.
Oh, is this Jeff Rust find?
Yeah.
It is actually really interesting and kind of sad. But we got to talk about this in a little bit more here in depth. Coming right on Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan. Old Jeff Rust found the Sickos Committee reposted this the other day. It's from at CFB Campus Tour. And it highlights on the U.S. map Division One, Division FCS, FBS and FCS, Division Two and Division Three schools and where they're located. And it gives you a better understanding of the geographical breakup and the groupings of how this stuff all works and why what's happening in college football is happening more than just the money, but geography itself plays a massive part in how this stuff is going to be decided.
It does, because so many schools are in the Midwest and Northeast. Like if you just look at the concentration of universities out west, we don't have very many that especially play football.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you want to look at it and you go, all right, how is a state like Montana really good at the FCS level? Eastern Washington really good at the FCS level. Look at the concentration of universities that play Division II and Division III football out here and out west. And look, even the FCS, there's a ton of really good players. And when you look at Division III, you have the Northwest Conference, which is Linfield, Willamette, Lewis and Clark, George Fox, Pacific, Whitworth, PLU, and Puget Sound, right? Those are the only Division III schools in the entire Northwest that play football. If you go up to Division II, you have Western Oregon and Central Washington.
They are the only two Division II football programs west of Wyoming.
And when you think about, okay, how that translates to the FCS programs, and look, Central Washington has a ridiculously good and stable football program up in Ellensburg, where the great Will Ortner played, head coached by Chris Fisk, and their defensive coordinator is a guy, Grant Torgerson from Oregon City High School, former fan intern.
There you go.
They are really good and they are stable. You look at Linfield, Whitworth are very stable Division III programs. It's because the distribution of talent, it's all concentrated so small. And if you look at the NAI level too, when you have only Southern Oregon and Eastern Oregon, those are the only NAI schools, right? When you take that and then you look at like the state of Wisconsin, which has like 14 Division III programs, and they have like 7 more D2 schools, that's where the guys who are really good and could play FCS football, they get peeled off and they go to D2 schools. The concentration of football players down here, or over here, you have Montana and Eastern Washington. They come into Oregon. They go into the state of Washington and Idaho, and they peel off more of those tweener kind of kids and develop them at Montana State especially. Eastern Washington has kind of taken a small step backwards, but there's just not nearly as many football programs. And look, the concentration of population on the East Coast, there's obviously more schools, more people that live over on the East Coast. But even down in California, on the West Coast, I think, what is it, 15 you said, Rust, is the total on the entire West Coast of D3 schools?
Yes, 15.
Because you have the
8
Northwest
spread between Oregon and Washington, and then 7 in a little cluster in Southern California.
And those are all, Southern California is, your Cal Lutheran, Pomona Pitzer, Whittier College, where Richard Nixon played football. Laverne is down there, Chapman. There's
Shirley.
And they're all private schools that are out here. I mean, it's all private schools. And so you look at it and you go, all right, D3 power schools, where are they? They are schools like Linfield, and then they're the public universities in the Midwest. University of Wisconsin Whitewater, University of Wisconsin La Crosse. Easier to get kids in. It's really hard to get kids into a lot of those D3 schools because a majority of them are private.
Yes.
And
not cheap.
The worst thing that happened for the Pacific Northwest especially was when D3 was created in the mid 90s, when D3 schools, you had an NAIA conference that had, all the Northwest Conference schools, but then you added in there Central Washington, Western Oregon, Southern Oregon, Eastern Oregon, and Western Washington had a dominant NAIA program. D3 was created, and all of a sudden these schools said, all right, what are they going to do? Are they going to go to D3 when that's where all the private schools ended up going? The Southern Oregon ended up staying at NAIA. Western Oregon said, we're going to make the jump to D2. Central Washington said, we're going to make the jump to D2. That's what Western Washington did. Then they cut their football program. That's another big problem out west is that you have a bunch of places that are cutting football. Pacific cut football. They brought it back. George Fox recently brought back a program that was dead since 1969, and they brought it back like a little bit over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And then you have Azusa Pacific down in Southern California, which was an NAIA and then a D2 power, and then they just said, lights out, we're done.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where Christian Okoye went.
It's insane to think about. When you see this map, especially the Division III, we often talk about how college football is a Mason-Dixon line sport. Just means more SEC, and then you have the smatterings of the Big Ten. But Division III, the entire Northeast, dozens, not a couple, dozens of schools just stuffed into these pockets where you're just like, oh my God.
But then you also go down to the SEC, or down in the southeast portion of the country where the SEC, it just means more, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you flip through these
There's
diagrams,
no
we'll retweet them at Danny and Dusty. But the FCS and FBS, it is littered throughout the South because they're willing to pump money in. They do not have very many D2. They do not have very many D3 schools. The D2 schools that they do have, like Valdosta State down in Georgia, are really damn good at football, but they're few and far between. They pump their money towards the FBS and the FCS programs. In the Northeast, where they give two rips about college football, is all D3. Private schools, a lot of money, they'll have D3 football. And then you look out west where they say they don't care about football out there. Go through this. There's not a lot of universities out here that have football programs from FBS all the way down to the FCS. In the Northwest, you only have 2 FCS programs in Oregon and Eastern Washington. And then you add, Idaho and Idaho State into there as you get over. So you have 4 technically FCS programs. And then you go to D2, there's only 2. And then there D3, you've got 8.
Well, the crazy thing is, you think about in the West, there's only 4 FCS schools in California.
Yeah.
In California.
They have been cutting programs left and right. Cal State Northridge was one that cut my senior year of high school. It was like you get a recruiting letter and then you get a letter that comes in right after that says, oh, by the way, we're dropping our football program by. That's it.
It's nuts though. Like when you think about this, and if you look at the FCS in the South, because I mean these are the feeder programs into the SEC. Not only as far as like the transfer pool goes, but also these are the cupcakes that they schedule every single year. The Alabama States, the Samfords, the Mercers, the Florida A&Ms, the Bethune-Cookman, like those, like when you look at the SEC, game 1 0-week schedule, it's these guys.
Yeah, and the crazy part about California having only 4 FCS programs, one of them is a non-scholarship. University of San Diego. They're a non-scholarship program, and so you've seen those kind of dip away. They only have UC Davis, Sac State, and Cal Poly now, which are not powers by any means. Like UC Davis, Dan Hawkins.
When did Northern Arizona go to FCS?
They've been there for a long time.
Has it been that long now?
Yeah, they've been there for a very long time. They've been in the Big Sky for at least 20 years.
So when we were in high school, they were still D1, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
But that's a big problem. In California, you should have more.
You should have like 15.
You should have from FCS and D2.
Yeah.
Not to have a single D2 program in the state of California is wild because Humboldt State and Azusa Pacific shuttered their doors. And now you're sitting there, none. Nevada, 0. Idaho, 0. Arizona, 0. Utah, they used to have Dixie State. Now they went up to FBS now as Utah Tech. Whole full-on rebrand at Dixie State. It's wild to think about.
It's so weird the way things are heading down this path.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I retweeted it from the Danny and Dusty account. It's definitely one of those things.
It's crazy to look at, and you think about where it means more.
When you sit down on the toilet, go ahead and fire that one up and take a look, because it's one of those ones you're going to spend some time looking at. You're going to go, wait, what? It's very interesting when you actually see what it actually looks like geographically. You're like, oh, Huh. Okay. Coming up next, the Oregon Ducks might be on pace to have one of their best, if not their best, recruiting class ever. What that means for the Ducks, and as they get ready to get into the Big Ten here coming up. But first, here's the Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
This is an Open Championship Week edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, second round of the Open Championship at Royal Troon has wrapped up. And alone at the top of the leaderboard, Shane Lowry, 7 under par overall. He is 2 strokes clear of Daniel Brown and Justin Rose. Scotty Scheffler tied for 4th, 5 strokes off the pace at 2 under. Jason Day is 1 under. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, John Rahm all at 1 over. Jordan Spieth is 3 over. Phil Mickelson 5 over. And Ricky Fowler just making the cut at 6 over par. Ludwig Åberg, Tony Finau, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, Wyndham Clark all headed home for the weekend. The Trailblazers continue Las Vegas Summer League play tonight against the Hornets. 8 o'clock tip on ESPN2. Kevin Durant returning to practice with Team USA today in advance of tomorrow's Olympic tune-up against South Sudan in London. He's listed as questionable as he recovers from a right calf injury. And the Mariners start the second half of the season at home with a crucial 3-gamer against the Astros. Seattle's lead over Houston in the AL West down to just 1 game. Luis Castillo on the bump for the Mariners. Hunter Brown for the Astros. 7:10 first pitch on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
It's coming, The Fan at Big Ten Media Day, with the coaches and players you want to hear. July 23rd through the 25th on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Quack, quack.
I'm gonna have to wait.
Gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
One of the top recruits in the country, a 5-star, is postponing his selection until August 3rd.
Yeah, Trey McNutt is safety out of Ohio, which, I mean, you got to be kicking yourselves if you're Ohio State, a 5-star in your own state, likely going to be leaving. And his name is McNutt, and you're the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Wesley Mallard. He had to play for Oregon.
What was the Storm Duck?
Oregon lost on Storm Duck. Yeah, I mean, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Like Anthony Beavers, I think was the kid's name. Or how do you not play for Oregon State? Let's go. But Trey McNutt, he was supposed to commit today at 3:00. Mm-hmm. Andrew Nemec posted an article yesterday saying that, he was predicting McNutt to Oregon today. And I saw that the immediate kind of surge on social media is like, oh, that means A&M or Ohio State. They're making a push for him. And apparently, according to was it Steve Wiltong of 24/7 Sports, said it's delayed to August 3rd because of the inability of people closer to him to be there for his commitment. And in that, I don't understand the freak out of a kid delaying his commitment date anyways, because nothing changes in this recruiting process. Like Ohio State and Texas A&M are still going to try to flip him even after he commits. Yeah. It's a verbal commitment. No. And so anytime that if I was, you have to commit because of scholarships available.
Yes.
The public commitment is one that you sit there and I always kind of scratch my head out, especially when you do it early, because so much can change.
Yeah, USC lost 3 5-stars.
And because you verbally commit and then teams just go, bet. I'm going to come in and we're going to come in even harder over the top.
The check clears.
And that is ridiculous. So ridiculous. Because Dan Lanning just did a sit down with Tyson Alger of the I-5 corridor where Lanning said the reports of unlimited NIL are funny because unlimited NIL would be great, right? That would be awesome because you could spend whatever you want on guys. But in boiling everything down to the check clearing is stupid.
It really is. But where it has happened is like the Jaden Rashadas of the world.
Yeah, it is. But you always have teams trying to flip guys throughout the course of the season. And a lot can change. And I've never understood signing day is when you need to get nervous, right? It's not on commitment day. It is signing day is where everything changes. And that's why it's great that Oregon has got a consensus top 5 class, no matter kind of where you look in the recruiting rankings. That is great right now. It means very little until December when signing day happens. And that is when you can sit there and you can have that anxiety of, is this guy really going to be here? Because we see flips all the time throughout the course of a season. And there's nothing that changes with, communication with the coaching staff, but your heart can change, right? And you can say, maybe I don't want to go that far from home. Maybe the better fit is at this school. Maybe the school that you committed to doesn't have the season that you were expecting that they were going to have. And then you say, all right, maybe I'm going to change my course and I'm going to go to, A&M or Ohio State or Georgia at that point. Maybe Georgia starts showing interest in a guy and you go, am I going to turn that out?
That was my dream school and I never even thought I'd have an opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that stuff happens all the time.
The reality is everybody in the recruiting business is still saying they do believe Trey McNutt is a very strong Oregon lean. So is Jonah Williams.
90+%.
Another 5-star safety that they're in the mix for. But it doesn't mean anything until December.
No.
And that's where
until that actual commitment is signed, it doesn't mean anything.
And that's where I keep going back to. That's where relationships matter in recruiting, and people can boil it down to money all you want. Money is great to have, and it does again get your foot in the door, helps you close. Absolutely does. Relationships in recruiting still matter, and they will matter.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, they will until it truly is unlimited resources to go out and sign whoever you want.
Yeah,
at that point it changes.
My point on the check clearing wasn't directed at Oregon. It was the guys that make those sudden changes out of nowhere. It's like, huh.
Yeah, and even that I think is, of course we all go, huh, but you're 18 years old and you're starting to realize this is the biggest decision that you're going to make to that point in your life. The biggest decision of your life. And a lot of things changed. Sure, when you're 100% correct. A guy like Jaden Rashada, sometimes there are guys who they're all about money.
Oh, Bear Alexander was a guy who was going to transfer out of USC, and then all of a sudden he wasn't.
Yeah, well, they finally got their NIL in order, and guys were actually getting the money that they were promised.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. Like the check clears.
Yeah.
That's a big part of this. Everybody can promise this, that, or the other, but that part of the process has to happen on the transactional side for it to actually happen. Like going back to even before NIL was opened up. Cam Newton, $250,000. Like that was like there was plenty of schools that were like, sure, we'll give you the money, but only one, Auburn, actually showed up with bags of cash and said, "Here you go."
They all gave. That's why I think NIL, it has separated a lot of the haves and the have-nots. That there already was that separation there, but it also has opened the door for, and this is a big bone of contention in the SEC, is that it's opened the door for schools to be like, all right, now we can use our resources that were just tied into being a relevant football and basketball program into now we can do this on the up and up, and we can use our resources that we were our booster base that was keeping us relevant. Now we can also use them to get recruits coming our way. Arkansas, Oregon is a great example of it. I mean, they are. And look, Washington is as well, because they use their NIL to keep guys. Last year alone, they used their NIL to keep guys on campus to make one more run at it. That wasn't going to be possible without NIL. I mean, it wasn't. They would have had guys that are going, deuces, I'm out. And they were able to stay and had a hell of a year.
Well, speaking of staying, you know what else is staying? Horns down. Deal with it, Texas. We'll close today's show with that and more. Come up here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. Texas is on its way to the SEC, and, well, they're not going to be treated like the little princesses that they want to be.
No. The Longhorn Network, gone.
Gone. The Big 12, no longer the shield that is really just the Longhorn Network in name only. Instead, the SEC came out and said, well, you're going to have to deal with horns down, buddy.
We've talked a lot about that in our officiating group since I've taken over in the 2020 season. And to be unsportsmanlike conduct, I'm asking my officials to use a framework of judgment where the act to be a foul needs to be in one of three buckets. It needs to be taunting an opponent, it needs to be a travesty of the game, or it needs to otherwise compromise our ability to manage the game. What's a travesty of the game, right? It's just a phrase. I ask my officials, the act itself needs to be offending to the senses. If you took that act out of a football stadium and did it in a shopping mall or a grocery store, would it offend the senses to a majority of the reasonable people in the area, right? That signal would not, right? You might have some people that share that signal with you if you did that at a grocery store or in a shopping mall, depending where you are. So it's very much, we're going to evaluate it in context. I could see a scenario, I want to be very cautious about using hypotheticals, right? But I could see a scenario where an opponent of Texas makes a big play in celebrating with his teammates, possibly going back to the sideline. They're giving the signal. It's not taunting. It's not making a travesty of the game. It's not affecting our ability to manage the game.
Texas fans have made it a travesty to the game
of
their time in the Big 12. Pearl clutching over horns down has always been one of my most fun things about college football, because it always comes at the time where Texas being back is no longer back.
Yeah.
And that was the bigger issue, is that Texas fans couldn't handle the fact that things were going so well for the other team that they went, boom, horns down in your face, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
Good on the SEC. I love the grocery store, too.
Yeah, crotch grab, not okay. Horns down, okay.
Well, that's like the whole 3 pumps rule from the Key and Peele skit, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you do 2 pumps in a grocery store, I think they're going to be okay with it. You get that 3rd pump, it'll be offensive to some people, and that draws the flag.